In this video, I shall explain the assessment criteria and the examples of suitable evidence which you can submit to demonstrate your competence against each assessment criterion. The Unit 3 is Develop and Implement Effective Communication Systems for Health and Safety Information. There are total 5 learning outcomes in this unit. The first 3 learning outcomes include the assessment criteria which shall measure your skill, while the fourth learning outcome includes the assessment criteria which are designed to measure your knowledge and understanding. Last learning outcome is about your CPD. For all skill-based assessment criteria, you will need to submit the documentary evidence from your workplace and provide a brief narrative of the evidence. That is your role in the subject activity for which you submitted the evidence. The documentary evidence of your competence can be the documents, records, pictures, and videos, etc. Remember that your submitted evidence must be valid, authentic, current, sufficient, and reliable. For knowledge-based assessment criteria, you shall need to submit a written response in your own words. Your response must be between 250 to 350 words against each assessment criterion. The assessment criterion 1.1 is research proposed and new health and safety legislations, codes of practice, standards, health and safety risk assessments and control procedures and practices, technical developments and best practices in order to develop as appropriate to the organization, implement as appropriate in the organization. To demonstrate your competence against this assessment criterion, you have to submit evidence that you keep yourself up to date with the latest developments regarding the occupational health and safety legislations, code of practice, standards, health and safety risk assessments and control procedures and practices, technical developments and best practices related to your organization. Let's see what can be the suitable evidence. To demonstrate your competence, you can submit evidence of subscription of technical magazines, journals or ISO websites, etc. Evidence of your membership with IOSH or IIRSM, evidence of subscription of updates from the regulatory body website, evidence of your membership with social networking groups which share the latest updates in the OHS profession. 1.2 is evaluate health and safety information for the organization which is coming into the organization, flowing within the organization and going out of the organization. To demonstrate your competence against this criterion, you have to submit evidence that you can evaluate the internal and external OHS related communication of your organization to be accurate, useful and effective. The examples of communication coming in the organization can be regulatory requirements, benchmarking industry best practices, ISO standards, consultancy documents, any data regarding the technological developments, etc. And the examples of the communication flowing within the organization can be the OHS policy, risk assessment results, emergency evacuation procedure, incident reporting procedure, inspection and audit results, management review outcomes, etc. Examples of communication related to OHS which is going out of the organization can be the regulatory reporting, contractor audits, procurement requirements sent to the supplier, etc. The suitable evidence can be OHS communication procedure which identifies what are the internal and external communications which the organization has established to be necessary for effective OHS performance of the organization. Records of inspection or internal audit reports for communication process effectiveness and efficiency. Records of OHS incidents caused due to the ineffective communication and the corrective actions taken accordingly. Incident investigation reports showing ineffective communication and its findings and recommendations for improvement. Records of communication procedure review including the justification for review or revision. You don't have to submit all the evidence being displayed in the slide. However, you must write your role in a paragraph in the specific activity whose records you are submitting as evidence. For example, the incident investigation, corrective action or procedure review must be carried out by you or a team in which you are a member. The assessment criterion 2.1 of Unit 3 is being displayed on your screen. To demonstrate your competence against this assessment criterion, you have to submit evidence that you communicate health and safety information within the organization and externally to the suppliers regarding the OHS risks associated with the purchased products. This communication must cover the following aspects: proactive monitoring for the risks associated with the purchased products, health and safety performance initiatives, that is suppliers' performance evaluations, health and safety promotion activities for employees regarding safe use of purchased products or services, and for the suppliers regarding the supply of safe to use products and services. Reactive monitoring, that is the health and safety incidents due to the use of purchased products or services. To demonstrate your competence, you can submit letters or emails sent to the supplier regarding OHS requirements related to the procurement, for example, personal protective equipment, engineering controls, etc. This must include the detailed specification of your requirements, supplier performance evaluation report, records of communication of safety manuals, maintenance instructions of purchased products within the organization, records of collaboration plan, arrangement with the supplier for on-site installation or commissioning, OHS incidents caused by the use of purchased products or services, records of risk assessments related to purchased products. 2.2 is effectively communicate health and safety information to the organization using a range of methods. To demonstrate your competence, you have to submit evidence that you communicate health and safety information within the organization using a range of communication methods. To demonstrate your competence, you can submit the evidence of communication related to health and safety, for example, letters or emails, toolbox talks, communication through intranet, notice boards, digital screens, PA system, flashlights, banners and posters, digital gadgets or vibrating devices for disabled persons, etc. 2.3 is to communicate health and safety information externally to the organization. You have to present evidence that you communicate health and safety information external to the organization. Letters and emails regarding health and safety sent to the external organizations or individuals. Picture of notice boards outside the main gate for the visitors, member of the public, etc. Web portals, screenshots showing information. Fax sent to the external organizations regarding health and safety matters, website, news page, or any other messages being displayed on your organization which are intended for external interested parties and are health and safety related. Telephone communication records to the external parties, etc. You have to submit evidence of all communication methods you use for sending and receiving information to the external interested parties. 2.4 is to maintain records of all health and safety information related to the input materials and goods, equipment, services, and resources bought in by the organization. You have to submit evidence that you maintain the health and safety information related to all the purchased products and services. To demonstrate your competence, you can submit screenshot of online inventory management system, picture of storage records showing the shelf life for other important health and safety information, for example, identification and traceability, calibration records of the purchased equipment, records of MSDS, that is manufacturer safety data sheet supplied with the purchased materials, records of safety and maintenance instruction of purchased machines, etc. 2.5 is manage the communication systems for the health and safety activities of the organization. You have to submit evidence of your communication system which is in place for all health and safety activities of your organization's OHS management system. To demonstrate your competence, you can submit the records of how you communicated OHS policy, OHS risks, information related to emergency alarms or other communication systems to be used in case of emergency, incident reporting, documents revision, legal requirements, etc. Evidence can be the records of communication, for example, letters or emails, notice boards picture, minutes of the meetings, or digital screens. 2.6 Confirm that the health and safety culture and policy are kept in the forefront of the activities of the organization. You have to submit evidence that you ensure that the health and safety culture and health and safety policy are kept in the forefront of the activities in the organization. That means that these two things are prioritized. To demonstrate your competence, you can submit the records of any activities in which the importance of positive safety culture and compliance with the safety procedures is highlighted. For example, safety posters or safety banners, meetings records, toolbox talks, training events, audit objectives which aim at improving safety culture and safety procedures compliances. 3.1 Confirm that the statutory reporting of the health and safety information required from the organization to the regulatory and local authorities is carried out. You have to submit evidence that you ensure that the statutory reporting requirement is effectively done. To demonstrate your competence, you can submit the records of RIDOR reports or similar in your legal jurisdictions if applicable, reportable incidents records, records of communication of control measures or corrective actions taken after a regulatory inspection, information shared to local fire services, any other mandatory reports or information required by law, keeping in view the context of your organization and the jurisdiction in which it operates. 3.2 Confirm that the health and safety information of the organization is communicated where appropriate to trade associations, voluntary bodies, interested parties, and individuals. You have to submit evidence that you communicate the relevant OHS information to the trade associations, voluntary bodies, interested parties, and individuals. Your submitted evidence for assessment criteria 2.3 shall be sufficient to demonstrate your competence for this class 2. 3.3 Ensure that the health and safety information of the organization for products, services, and waste is communicated to the stakeholders. To demonstrate your competence, you have to submit evidence that you ensure that the relevant health and safety information is provided to all the stakeholders depending on the nature and type of products and waste your organization produces and their foreseeable risks to their health and safety. You can submit the records of your communication for the following: MSDS of the products your organization produces, any product labels and signage which may specify the hazard information to the customers, waste data communication to relevant stakeholders, for example, customers through product label and regulatory bodies, etc., workplace signage for safety. The records of communication can be letters, emails, pictures of notice boards or digital screens, website screenshots, online management system screenshots, etc. Assessment Criterion 3.4 Ensure that the relevant health and safety standards and procedures of your own organization are provided to the contractors. You have to submit evidence that you include the contractors in the scope of your OHS management system and provide them with your own organization's safety standards and procedures so they may comply. To demonstrate your competence, you can submit the records of your communication with the contractors in which you provided them with your organization's safety standards and procedures. For example, you sent them letters or emails or any other communications, minutes of the meetings with the contractors, or the contractor management software screenshots. The fourth learning outcome relates to the knowledge domain. For all the assessment criteria against the learning outcome, you have to provide the written response. 4.1 is evaluate the development and implementation of effective communication system for health and safety information. You have to provide your written response as follows. What is an effective communication system? What factor will you consider to check if your communication system is effective? Consider clarity, timeline, feedback, accessibility, understanding, and impact of communication system. Your written response must be between 250 to 350 words. 4.2 Explain the principles and concepts of written and verbal communication, electronic information, retrieval, storage, and communication system. With regard to written communication, consider clarity, conciseness, completeness, accuracy, and tone. With regards to verbal communication, consider the principles of clarity, listening, non-verbal cues, tone, feedback, and regarding the communication system, the principles are accessibility, security, accuracy, reliability, and integration. Your written response should be between 250 to 350 words. The assessment criterion 4.3 of Unit 3 is being displayed on your screen. To meet the requirements of this assessment criterion, you have to provide your written response. Consider the following when answering. There can be political, economic, social, technological, legal, and environmental factors which may influence the performance of the communication system in each case, as mentioned in the assessment criterion requirements. Your response must be between 250 to 350 words. Learning outcome 5 relates to your continuing professional development. Download the continuing professional development form from the resources section and fill the form as you have done in the previous units. For your understanding, just assume that a health and safety auditor is visiting your workplace and asking you to provide the evidence of the conformity. The evidence you will present to that auditor will also be valid to demonstrate your competence for NVQ qualifications. So imagine the auditor is asking the following questions from you. If auditor asks you, how do you keep yourself updated with latest trends and developments in OHS, then what will be your response and what documentary evidence will you present to support your claims? Similarly, if the auditor asks you, do you evaluate that health and safety information coming in, going out or circulating within the organization is accurate, useful and effective, then what will be your response and what documentary evidence will you present to support your claim? Same goes for all the questions which are following. 2.1. Do you communicate OHS risks associated with the purchased products and services to the relevant interested parties? Do you use a range of communication methods, for example letters, emails, notice boards, signs, posters, digital screens, alarms, etc.? Do you communicate information related to health and safety to the external individuals or organizations, for example members of the public, regulatory bodies, contractors, suppliers, etc.? Do you maintain the records of health and safety information of all materials and products which are purchased by the organization? Information could be related to shelf life, hazards, identification and traceability, disposal requirements, etc. Do you have any communication systems for OHS activities in your organizations? For example, how do you communicate OHS policy or OHS risks or emergency evacuation procedures? And how do you communicate that documents have been revised, etc.? Do you ensure that the importance of positive safety culture and compliance with safety procedure is repeatedly emphasized? Do you report the required information to the relevant regulatory body, for example OHS incidents, dangerous goods at the workplace, monitoring data, etc.? Do you communicate health and safety information to the trade associations, voluntary bodies, interested parties and individuals, for example contractors, visitors, members of the public, customers, suppliers, media, NGOs, etc.? Do you communicate health and safety information related to the products or services and or waste which your organization produces to relevant interested parties, for example customer, transporters, franchises, warehouses, regulatory bodies, etc.? Do you provide your organization's safety standard and procedures to the contractors? For all the assessment criteria from 4.1 to 4.3, you have to demonstrate your understanding by providing the written responses in your own words. The responses must, however, be between 250 to 350 words against each assessment criterion.